A big spike in the number of people filing for jobless benefits. The Labor Department says 448,000 people filed for unemployment claims last week, and that is the highest level in 5 years. It was a bit of a surprise, too. Economists had predicted that jobless claims would actually fall by about 8,000. The government blamed the jump, at least in part, on a new outreach program designed to locate people who are eligible for benefits. Rick?
Well, today, Jerry, there is a big showdown to tell you about in California, and it could mean many people get laid off. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is expected to sign an executive order today that is going to lay off about 22,000 temporary and part-time state workers. He's also expected to slice the salaries of about 200,000 regular state employees. Get this, that means those 200,000 people will end up making about minimum wage. Now, these pay cuts would be in effect until the lawmakers can come up with a budget to close the state's $15 billion deficit. Well, we're standing by for Senator Barack Obama. He's going to have a town hall meeting. It's going to be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. You remember Cedar Rapids, Iowa, right? Flooding. He's going to be talking to some of those victims there. First, let's take you over to Don Lemon. He's bringing you some of the other latest headlines that we're going to be following over the course of the next couple of hours, Don.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Rick. And we begin with news. We're just getting into the CNN newsroom. It's about a plane crash in Minnesota. At least 7 people are reported dead here. The FAA says a plane crashed off the runway at the airport in Owatonna. Now, it happened while brutal thunderstorms were rolling through that area, and the flight had come from Atlantic City, New Jersey. We're working on this story. We're going to bring you the very latest in the CNN newsroom at the top of the hour. Meantime, let's talk about progress on the war front. President Bush today giving a cautiously upbeat assessment of security gains in Iraq. He says terrorists are on the run and U.S. troop reductions this year could continue if security holds. Now, the president also announced combat tours in Iraq are being cut immediately, and that could allow troops to come home sooner. President Bush adds the U.S. is making progress in talks with Iraqi officials on how long American forces will remain in Iraq. A court appearance today for one of the most powerful people in Washington. Alaska Republican Senator Ted Stevens is to be arraigned on charges he lied about gifts he received from an oil services contractor. Their value estimated to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 84-year-old senator is expected to continue campaigning for re-election.
All right, this is where I get stressed out, not knowing how long the security lines are going to be.
Did you see that guy cut us off? Weenie. Well, Kira Phillips and I compete against each other to answer a question, I should say, important to you. Which is cheaper for the average family vacation, flying or driving? Well, you might be surprised by what we found out straight ahead in the CNN newsroom. I'm Don Lemon. I'll see you in the newsroom at the top of the hour. Now we throw it back to Jerry Willis in New York. That was a fun trip. It was long, but fun.
I love that. Yeah. I can't wait to, that's great. Okay, well, we'll look forward to that.
All right, Jerry, good to see you. You look great, by the way.
You know, you are the nicest person in the world. You look fabulous, too. Great lavender tie.
All right, thank you.
You can call me anytime.
All right.
All right. We have some new polls out today on who you think is to blame for high energy prices. Let's get right down to it. Our senior political correspondent, Bill Schneider, joins me live now from Washington. Bill, what you got?
Well, essentially, when we ask people, who do you blame for rising gasoline prices, they say everybody, but some more than others. Let's look at the list. At the top of the list are economic forces. 2/3 say U.S. oil companies are to blame, a major cause of higher gas prices, and those reports of record profits from ExxonMobil today will certainly keep the oil companies at the top of the list. Foreign oil producers right behind them, nearly 2/3. Energy speculators, financial speculators, that's the group that Democrats in Congress are targeting. They're up there too. And then, of course, the rising demand from other countries such as China and India get a lot of the blame. Now, just below that, political causes. Political causes people see a little less responsible, still very high on the list. The Bush administration, the war in Iraq, federal laws that prohibit offshore oil drilling. That gets 51% say that's a major cause. But get this, at the bottom of the list, only 31% say the Democrats who control Congress, that they're a major cause of rising oil prices. Jerry?
Well, Bill, you know, these two numbers, those last two numbers don't seem to jive, you know. I mean, on the one hand, you have Democrats blaming Democrats, and then the ban on offshore drilling. So people are blaming the ban for high prices, but not blaming the Democrats who oppose it. Tell us how that works.
Well, the difference in those two numbers is intriguing because, as you just saw, 51% say the ban on offshore oil drilling is a major cause. Only 31% say the Democrats in Congress should be held responsible. The administration, John McCain, the Republicans are trying to change that perception to bring the 31% closer to the 51. Yesterday, President Bush said at a news conference, the American people are rightly frustrated by the failure of Democratic leaders in Congress to enact common sense solutions like the development of oil resources in the outer continental shelf. So what they're trying to do is say it's the Democrats in Congress who are responsible because they won't allow the oil drilling.
Wow, interesting stuff. Bill Schneider, thank you for that.
Sure.
All right, we're trying to make an executive decision for you here. This is from a programming note. Will, if you got a shot of Barack Obama, he's in Cedar Rapids, pardon me, I misspoke. He's in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We should have a shot of him. There he is on the podium. He should be really into his speech in just a little bit. And when he gets into it, we're going to dip in. We're going to let you listen to it. Meanwhile, here's another story we're following for you. Your car at risk. No car alarm can protect it. What is this new thing that thieves are going for that's inside your car? And as Jerry told you a little while ago, no, it has nothing to do with oil. It has nothing to do with gas. It's a quiz. We'll be right back with issue number 1. Senator Barack Obama, after what many would describe as a combative day yesterday with Senator John McCain, already commenting earlier in the day about these record oil price profits. We're going to have a lot on that, but let's dip into him now. He's in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, talking to some of the victims of those floods a month and a half ago. Let's get in.
Have lost their jobs since the beginning of this year. We have the highest rate of foreclosure since the Great Depression, impacting communities all across the country. It's harder to save. It's harder to retire. And the worst part is that I think a lot of Americans feel as if not only are things getting tougher for them right now, but they're worried about the future of their children and their grandchildren, and whether they're going to be able to pass on a better America to them. That's, after all, what the American dream's all about. That's what the American dream has always been all about, that if you try, you can make it here in America. If you work hard, you can make it. And you don't just make it for yourself, but you're passing on a better life to the next generation. And that's what people are anxious about. They're not so sure right now. And given the seriousness of the issues, given the fact that the decisions that we make right now are going to help determine the future, not just of the next generation, but perhaps generations after that. Given the magnitude of our challenges when it comes to energy and healthcare and jobs and our foreign policy, you'd think that we'd be having a serious debate. But so far, all we've been hearing about is Paris Hilton and Britney Spears. I mean, I do have to ask my opponent, is that the best you can come up with? Is that really what this election's about? Is that what is worthy of the American people? Even the media has pointed out that Senator John McCain, who started off talking about running an honorable campaign, has fallen back into the predictable political attacks, the demonstrably false statements. But here's the problem. And I'm not interested in getting into a tit for tat. These negative ads, these negative attacks, spending all this time talking about me and instead of talking about what he's going to do, that's not going to lower your gas prices. That's not going to help you stay in your home if you're falling behind on the mortgage. That's not going to help you find a job if it's been shipped overseas. It doesn't do a single thing to help the American people. It's politics as a game. But the time for game playing is over. That's why I'm running for President of the United States of America.
Barack Obama, this is an important event for Barack Obama. We'll probably be hearing a lot more from him throughout the course of the day, not only on the record profits from Exxon, but also on some of the statements that came out yesterday in that ad from John McCain. We'll have it for you. Jerry, over to you.
Well, we've been telling you about a great story on cars. We'll come back and tell you more about that. We'll tell you what thieves are looking to steal out of your car. We're all over issue number 1 right here on CNN.
I want to say happy anniversary today to JFK Airport. That's the good news. Here's the bad. It's an update on that baggage system breakdown we were telling you about yesterday there at New York's JFK Airport. The American airline baggage system came back up early this morning, but oh, what a mess this computer glitch has left behind. Thousands of people had to fly to their destinations yesterday without their luggage. Hundreds of bags have been piling up at the terminal lobby. Look at that. We'll be following it throughout the day. Jerry, over to you.
I tell you, my heart goes out to those people. That is so frustrating. Well, next to your house, your car is likely one of the most valuable assets you have. And you know what? It could be at risk. There's a new wave of car thieves out there, and only they don't steal your car. They steal something valuable on the bottom of your vehicle. CNN's Alan Chernoff explains.
There's precious metal in this auto part, a catalytic converter that's become appealing to thieves since precious metal prices have soared. Long Island Cares, a food bank charity that sells donated cars, got hit recently. Catalytic converters stolen from 32 vehicles.
They tore the heart out of all of us. There's nothing else that we could have done but to put our heads down and try not to cry about it.
Such robberies have been happening around the country, at commuter parking lots, even auto dealerships. Catalytic converters contain just a few grams of precious metals, platinum, palladium, rhodium, that help filter emissions. Thieves can get up to $150 for a converter, and they typically steal many at a time.
The individuals that happened to rob us that night, they probably walked out of here with about $10,000 was it worth of material.
Thieves will typically just slide right under the vehicle and chop the catalytic converter here and here. And if you've got an SUV that's high off the ground, it's that much easier for them. Suffolk County, New York is seeing a dramatic increase in catalytic converter thefts as the economy has stumbled.
A larger number of people become more desperate. People who are risk takers become more willing to take greater risks.
Repairing the damage can cost well over $1,000. So Suffolk County has just approved a law requiring scrap metal dealers to keep detailed records on sellers of catalytic converters.
If we believe that there is probable cause that it was stolen, we can put a hold on that being sold off again by the scrap metal dealer, and we can track it back from whence it came.
24 states have passed similar laws this year, hoping to crack down on what's becoming an all-too-common crime. And it's not just catalytic converters. Thieves have been taking manhole covers, street signs, copper wiring, you name it. They've all become targets as metal prices have been climbing. Jerry?
Alan, I'm just standing here thinking my car is parked in my driveway. Anything could happen. I'm so worried. What can I do to protect my car?
Well, your driveway is probably fairly safe. These big commuter parking lots, they are very dangerous for this specific crime. You'd probably want to be in a parking lot that's guarded, perhaps. Otherwise, you can also have welding put on top of the catalytic converter. That's sort of like putting a lock there. The thief might see it, move on. You can also try to get an alarm system, but it has to be an alarm system that responds to vibration. That would help you out too.
So devil's in the details, but you better worry about your car. Amazing story. Alan, thank you very much. And good to see you underneath that car. That was impressive.
Good stuff. By the way, we've got a visitor here at issue number 1. You want to meet him? Come on, I'm going to bring you over to him. It's Roland Martin, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? He's got a cogent argument about at least one issue, and it's not issue number 1, where Barack Obama is wrong and John McCain is right. Don't say it yet. We're going to tell you what it is when we come back.
No.
Guess who's doing the election center today at 8 o'clock? That man right there, Roland Martin.
Have a little fun.
Good to see you. He's got a cogent argument he wants to make for us that Barack Obama's plan when it comes to school vouchers is not as good as Senator John McCain's plan, and he's here to make it. First, delineate them both for us. What's one guy say as opposed to the other?
Well, look, Obama takes the traditional Democratic stand being against school vouchers. McCain takes the traditional Republican stand being for school vouchers. The fundamental issue, frankly, from both parties is they go to the extremes. Republicans think it's the be-all to end-all. Democrats say it absolutely fails.
Well, why do you think John McCain's right?
Well, because I believe that school vouchers are a part of the educational answer. And so, I went to public schools my entire life.
Me too.
But a parent should have the right to be able to make choices. If you're in a failing school, we start school about 3 or 4 weeks in some places, in September and others. And so if your child's going to a failing school,
right,
you can't wait for Obama or McCain or some politician to get in and say, I'm going to fix the schools. But it's going to take 4, 5, 6, 10 years.
But let me play devil's advocate if I could. Most of the failing schools are in what? Poor areas, right? Where rich people live, you tend to have better schools. So who's going to be asking for these schools, these voucher schools, these private schools?
A lot of programs.
The poor people.
Right, but here's the deal, though. A lot of the voucher programs have been established for disadvantaged children. You have markers. If your school is a failing school, you say, look, then you can qualify for a voucher. In Louisiana, New Orleans School District, they just passed a law, Governor Bobby Jindal signed it into law to allow for vouchers. And look, we're not talking about just private schools where it costs 25 grand. There are Catholic schools, there are other schools where they can go to. Again, I don't believe you simply take it off the table.
But here's what people are going to be saying as they look at this. Who's going to pay for this, right? Aren't we going to end up having to pick up the pay
but you're already
for someone
doing
who
it.
wants to send their schools
but you already did. The purpose of the voucher is they're allocating dollars based upon each child in a school district. So, in Chicago public schools, they spend on average $10,000 per child. If that school is failing, then you're given a $10,000 voucher. Look, you're paying property taxes. It is already your money. So it's not really, look, I don't have any kids.
But why not just take those $10,000 and put it into the public school system and make it better?
Okay, because we've been hearing that argument for so many years, and there are many failing schools. I look at Chicago, Reverend James Meeks, the state senator. He actually wants to boycott the first day of school because he's trying to equalize school funding by saying, take your kids and enroll them in a suburban school. Okay, I get that. But the reality is, if you're a parent and your child's going to the 9th grade and you're going to a failing school, you don't want to wait 7 years. That kid's going to graduate in a horrible school. So I get the people who say, oh, we should better fund public schools.